Good morning, everybody. So this morning we are going to be looking at the access control part, right? The softwares. We've discussed the hardware in the past weeks. So this morning we're looking at access control softwares that enables these solutions. Please, I would like us to mute. Let me set most control. Okay. Yeah, so the last time I said there are two different softwares for attendance, for access control. Just like the way we have the attendance, we also have softwares that we use for access control. So these softwares I would like anyone to just tell me the softwares that we use for access control. The ZKTeco softwares that we use for access control. Can anyone tell me? Yeah, Lawrence. Oh, I need to unmute. Yeah, Lawrence, you can unmute.
Okay, the ZKCV access.
Yes, and
ZKCV security.
Good, very good. The ZKCV access and the ZKCV security. Okay, very good. So, and I think in the last class we also talked about the installation steps to ZKCV access and ZKCV security. And I said if you want to check the softwares, there are ways you can do it to download. So the first thing you need is ZKTeco. So if you are searching anything, like I said, you have to always include ZKTeco first. ZKCV security. So we'll give you this. And you have this page, the CV security page. And if I go to my other tab and I click ZKTeco, I'll have the CV access page. So whatever you are looking for, like I said, if you are making a search on any ZKTeco product, your keyword should be ZKTeco first before anything you want to search. It makes searching easier for you. So and also I gave an application the last time for anything ZKTeco, including AI. If you need any questions, you have an AI that would answer you by downloading the app. Can anyone tell me the app? Anyone? I mentioned that application the last.
ZKBio partner.
Good, very good. ZKBio partner. So how many of us are using the ZKBio partner now? How many of us have it installed? You can just thumbs up if you. Very good. So the ZKBio partner, it's a very good application, and it's an application that would help you to be able to achieve so many things ZKTeco wise, right? It's like having the whole of ZKTeco database on your phone as an application. All you just need to do is log in and get informations and updates on these things. So here's the Bio CV access. So the last time I said the CV access is a lightweight application for CV security. And
Sorry, sir,
you know,
can I ask a question, sir?
yeah, you can ask a question, but please, if you have a question, wait for me to prompt if anyone asks a question, then you can ask a question rather than having to interrupt in the training.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, maybe after. It's about the partner, ZKBio partner.
Yeah,
I'm unable to
that's-
register it.
we can talk about that after the
Okay.
after the training, so we won't waste time.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So on the CV security, we have two. We have the CV security, we have the CV access. And you know, I'm always saying CV security is I'm always saying these are access applications. They are for access control, but they do more than access control. So the reason why uh, I term it access control is because a lot of people, the classification has to be done between attendance and access control so that you can know the right fit of solution to actually make use of. So the CV security has a whole lot of solution combined in one software. It's a solution application. It's not just limited to access control. The CV access is also a solution application, but with limited module, right? So if I go to CV security, you see that in the list, CV security has about 21 modules and each of these modules is an application on its own. It's basically like containerizing different applications into one single body, right? So you can manage each of those applications in one single body, right? So containerizing the application. So you have the access control, you have the time and attendance, you have the elevator, you have the visitor, you have the parking, you have the guard patrol, you have the video management, you know, like, so you are containerizing those applications, you are containerizing them into one single system, right? So access control, time and attendance, elevator, visitor, parking, guard patrol, video management, consumption, face kiosk, intelligent scene, temperature. Access control is just a module on that application. So for access control, you can achieve a lot of things. You can achieve access level permissioning. You can set different access functions, functions that relates to how you want to guard against a particular door, right, in the access control. For it also has a module called the time and attendance. The time and attendance is also a module in the CV security. But the reason why we recommend bow time for time and attendance is because bow time is built for time and attendance. The functions that are present on bow time is more than what is present here in this containerized application. But if you have instances where you now have a whole solution, say you want to deploy elevator system, you want to deploy visitor management system, surveillance system. So what we do is to recommend the CV security for you to undo just one application that handles all these processes that you want to make use of, right? So that is why CV security is very important. It's an all-in-one solution. You can achieve video management. So take, for example, you have a project that involves surveillance installation. The project also involves access control. That same project involves attendance, right? And that same project, they are saying for visitors, they want to know how they want to do visitors, involves visitors. So you can see that you have 4 solutions. Before, what people will do is I'll go to HIK, I'll buy my camera, I'll go to another brand, Dawa, buy my access control, go to ZK, buy my, you know, then I'll now start installing each of the applications on different. So for change process, the customer, although you've completed the job, but for the customer is not easy, because say you've trained their personnel and the personnel leaves, how are they going to handle these subsystems, right? Because you have to install on the multiple application on that single system, and that becomes a problem. You need an application that will handle each of these solutions seamlessly and with good user experience and good user interface. So that is why we have the ZKBio CV security that gives you that ability to actually use ZKTeco in a single as an ecosystem, right? So access control, CV security works with it, attendance, elevator, visitor management, video management. So, but because CV security itself is enterprise, is high level, there are some projects you get that are not really high level, like say you have an installation for 5 doors and you want to install access control, right? With CV security, you will need to pay for the license. But with CV access comes with that. We give you free license. I'm going to show us how we can also download license for CV security. Yeah, so you can get that license for access and use the license, right? If you are installing nothing less than 5 doors, you can get this license from CV access. But when it comes to CV security is high level, and the license is paid for. So it is only recommended to use CV security when you have an high level project. Say you have a project of 30 doors, 40 doors, 50 doors, attendance system of elevator control system, different elevator control, visitor management. You know, when you have solutions like that, you can make use of CV security. But if it is just small solutions like those little access control, customer also one time and attendance, you can make use of the BIO CV access, and also the smart surveillance interface. You can make use of the BIO CV access. So quickly, I'm going to log into, like I said, our solutions are web-based solutions. I'm sure we all know what web-based solution is. If we are just joining us and you don't know about this, you can refer to the videos on YouTube and learn more about that. So I'm going to be logging into the application, one of the applications from a server. So this is BIO CV security. So when you installation guide, we did that in the previous lessons also. You can just go to YouTube and see how, check how to install. But there's one thing I want to show us on CV security that we as installers, we need to pay attention to before we begin to use the application. So, like CV security, we have the ZKBio server controller. In on BIO time, we have what we call the server controller, right? On CV security, we also have what we call the service controller. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my entire screen so that I can show us the service controller. So if I come here and I type service, so when you install BIO CV security, the service controller gets automatically installed. So you just need to type service controller. So this is it here. So in the service controller, this is where you manage services, right? The process is after installation, because the application itself comprises of different microservices. Each of those microservices handles each of these modules. Each of those microservices handles each of these modules, right? So those microservices, they need to run. If they don't run, the system would not open, right? So as an installer, you need to understand services. So I'm going to show us. So the first place you want to check is what? The server controller, the service controller, like I said. So if you click on this service controller, you'll see all these things here. The service controller will not open as an app. It will just open as a mini service here. Like the way you have your battery service, your printer service, is going to open as a mini service here. So the first thing you see is database configuration. The database is configured automatically unless otherwise, unless you need, unless you have a customer that uses their own third-party database that they want to, connect to the application itself. So they can do that. This is where you handle the database. Nothing should be changed here. It's very important. The second place is the backup path configuration. So the backup path configuration is always automatic, but you can also change the path you want the system to store your backup at, right? So you can change that path also. Then you have the restore database. So restore database is for database restoration. So let's take, for example, you have a server, right, that has CV security, and that's, you now want to move. Maybe the customer now calls you that they have this server is too slow. We've gotten another server and we want to move the software to this other server, right? What you do is to take the database. I said when the backup happens, is stored here in this part, security DB back. This is the part in your local drive. There is going to be a folder called security DB back. In that security DB back, some files are stored there. They are SQL files. I'm going to show us. You are all going to see it. So those files, they are the backup files. Those files are what you need to download. So if I go to my folder here, my local disk, you are going to see security DB back here, because when you are installing, you'll be prompted to where you want your database to be stored. So if I click on this, so you will see a whole lot of 1 minute. We have some people that wants to join. Okay. Okay. So if I come here, you are going to see a whole lot of files. So you can see that my own CV security is also, like, storing the DB. So each of these file, this single file, is a database on its own. So any file that has the .psql, can you see .psql? The name .psql. So you just need to look at the timestamp, which is the date. So the timestamp we give you, because the database is incremental, right? So if I want to check the timestamp for this, I'll just go down, right? I'll see 6 p.m. So it means the last DB backup for my application happened on 6th last month, on the 26th of last month. So the last DB backup of my application happened on the 26th of last month. So this file now, I can now copy it. You can now move this file, copy it to your flash, then go to the new server, right? So when you go to the new server where the new ZKBio CV security is installed, so when you go to the new server, you can now come here to server controller and come to restore database. So if I click on restore database, you can now browse the database, right? And now go to the file paths where you put the database on. You know, you've put it on flash. On the new server, you now paste it. Maybe you paste it here in the on the desktop. So you now browse and restore the database on the new CV security. So that is how to restore. It's a simple process. So the next part is services. So you can, this is to tell you if a service is running or not. You can stop services, you can start services. The next is SSL certificate. So SSL is used for HTTPS. So if I come to my application here, you will see that my HTTPS here is cancelled and I'm getting not secured. That is telling me that I need to get an SSL certificate to, you know, ensure that my application is secured. And I explained what SSL is to us. The second one is the language pack, although it's not really needed. You can import a language pack. Say you have a language, different language, you know, we can help you add a language pack if the customer needs that. Then one of the important parts that you need to know is the add module part. The add module part is one of the important parts you need to know. This is where you add additional modules. You see, when you install the CV security applications, you'll be asked to either to, when you install the CV security applications, you'll be asked to select the modules that are required. Now, for CV security, you are only using the module that is required for your project. So when you are installing for a customer, say you are installing access control, you are selecting access control because access control is what is required, right? So if other modules are needed, so that is when those modules, they are added here, right? So that is where you now come to this add module and you now select the modules that you need, right? So you select them. So if I have an elevator project, I can just come to elevator, select. So the elevator module will be added. So it's always important to add modules that you need. On installation, you'll be asked to add the module. So you add the modules that you need because number one, you don't want to overweigh your system RAM, right? If you are using just only access control, you add access control module. That means access control service is what will be running because you are not using the other service. But if you are going to be using the other services, this is where you now come and add your module as you. So it's like making use of what you want at the right time. You already have everything in your bag, but when you need it, you bring it out and you make use of it. Then we have the modify the database password. These parts are also tell us not to change. And Redis, we leave this. This is for development purpose. Then we have the toggle HTTP. So in some cases, you can install in two ways. You can install in an unsecured manner or a secured manner. So you can install at both HTTP or HTTPS. So you can now toggle as you want. Toggle the HTTP, you can toggle to HTTPS. So currently, my software is in HTTPS. So if I toggle to HTTP, it means when I want to run it, I just type HTTP. I don't need to put the S. I just type HTTP and my IP address. But if I need to run it, if I need to use HTTPS, I need to append the S, which means HTTP secured, which is what is used here. But it's still not as secured because I don't have and SSL certificate. So there you have the log folder where you see the log. If there's any issues, if we tell you to send the log, so as an installer, if you have any issues, and probably I should take remote, or any support person takes remote, and they are checking the issue, and if the issue still not seem clear, if we ask you to take log, send us log. All you just need to do is come to log folder, and you see this biosecurity documents. You just send this to us, so we can review what the issue is from a development standpoint. So I'm going to log in into the application. One more thing before I start the application, before I log in, is I want to talk about the Redis also. Just like the way we have it on BioTime, we also have it on CV security. It's called the Bio Redis. So if I come to local disk and I come to program file, I can come to my Bio CV security, and I come to service, and I come to Redis, ZK Redis. So this Redis file, in this Redis folder, you have two files, append only and dump RDB. It's similar to how we have it on BioTime. These two files, you need to stop your service, delete these two files. So if you notice that your application was running before and suddenly the application stopped running, it's important to come through these parts and delete these two files, just like the way we did on BioTime. So append only directory and the dump RDB. So these are catch files, right? So you delete them so the application can run smoothly also. Then, now, it's also important to identify the services that your applications are using, right? Like I said, each of the applications are services on their own. So if I come here and I type services, this is present on everybody's system. So you don't have to install anything before you see this. So when you come to services, so you see what I have here. Bio Cage service, Bio platform. You can see the camera service. This is for face comparison. We have the core service. The core service, like the name implies, core means this is the service that keeps the system running. If anything happens to this, if anything happens to your application, this is where you go to. If anything happens to your application, the core service is where you go to. You check if the core service is running, because the core service is what is required for your application, what is required for your application to run. Then we have the CU service. We have the database service. If your application is not running too, it might be as a result of the database service also. You want to check that too. Then we have dependent service, face services. These are services that run if you have fingerprints is not sending, fingerprints is not working, stuff like that. You try to upload fingerprints, is not working, stuff like that. You need to check the services. We have the IS Online, web plugins. So we have different services. So you need to make sure that all these services are running. If one of these services doesn't run, it means there's going to be an issue with the application. So first thing as an installer, first thing you want to check is to check your Bio platform services to check if they are running. Similar to BioTime also. On BioTime, you have the Redis, proxy, server, so similar to BioTime, you want to see that every service is running as it should. So now I'm going to come to my CV security here, and I'm going to log in. So you can see that I've logged in into the application, just like the way we have about time. One thing you want to do is you want to check the about section. So I come to the about section. So in the about section, you can see I have like so many things. I have my version, which is the version of my CV security. Currently, I am using version 6.7.2. So if I go to CV security, I can check the latest version. So the latest version is this exe file, is version 6.7.2. So you might see a release probably every quarter of 6.7.3.4, like that. So those are so this is how you know if your version is not as updated as we have it on the software. So the next thing you want to check is your license information. What's the license that have been issued to you? What are the informations on that license? So when you install the application, you get the trial version, just like the way I have it here. So you can see these are trial versions, right? I have my license information. I have the advanced access, which is trial. I have some that are not activated because they are not meant for trial. So here I have the item list. The item represents the modules, each of the modules. Access module, I have a $50 license for trial, right? Which is going to expire on the next month, on the 23rd of next month. So that is 1 month license. And I have an attendance for trial, 10 points. So, every of our application, you always get the trial to use and, make use of it and see how it works. So I have different trial versions. Then here you have the activation. You have the online activation, you have the offline activation. Just like the way we have it on BioTime, you need to upload the license that has been issued to you, the sn.xml. In the last class on BioTime, I said if you want to do online activation, what do you use? Can anyone tell me? If you want to do offline activation, what should be the suffix of your license name? What do your license name ends with? Can anybody tell me? For offline activation. For online activation, we have sn.xml. But for offline activation, what do we use? Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. You can unmute. Or okay, I think I muted. Yeah, you can unmute yourself. It's fine. Okay, anybody else? I mentioned it in the last class. For online.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, for the offline, you need it end with oh, I'm trying to recall. It end with okay. Let me recall. You know, UKP.
No. What does the license name ends with? For online, you have your name.
Okay.
In sn.xml. For offline is what? I'm showing.
That is license. License. You have a yeah.
When we did Bow Time the last time, I showed us here. So for ZK softwares, yeah. For ZK softwares, if you are doing the online activation, you'll be given a file with that ends with sn.xml. And I said this should not be changed. For offline activation, you'll be given a file that ends with license.xml. So, but for the offline activation, you need to download the UPK. So for about time, it will ask you, do you have an existing license with this? If you choose no, it will tell you to input your oh my god, network. What? Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
We can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. So when you download the UPK, you can now go to the services, the service center on the ZK website. You now come to license activation, right? So you now search for CV security offline activate license. When you click on the activate, of course, you have to log in. It will ask you to log in. So when you log in and you click on the offline activation, so you can now upload your SM file and your UPK file. So when you upload both, you can now download the license.xml. So you can also have the PDF here. I'm just going to download it and share with us in the group quickly. So we cannot have it in the group. So you also have step-by-step guide on how to, activate and deactivate the license. So I'm going to reload the application. So want to okay. Let me log in again. 153. Can anyone hear me now? Can anyone hear me? Okay. So let's log in again. Can anyone hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, boss.
Okay. So that is how you live for the online and the offline. Then you have the import license if you are reinstalling the software. So if you need to reinstall your software, you can first export your current license. After reinstallation, you can now use the import function. Then the browser recommended, Firefox, Chrome, Edge are the browsers that are recommended. So you can see all these parts. So that's about the about section. So whatever we are seeing here, the similarities are also in the CV access. So in the CV access, you have the same, not different UI, but the functions are the same. So what is different is just the user interface, but the functions are the same. So in CV access, you would only have the modules, the 3 modules that I mentioned here, which is the access control, the attendance, and the surveillance. You have those modules in CV access with a different UI, but the navigation, the use cases are the same thing. The about section there also is similar to what we have here. So whatever I'm speaking to here also applies to CV access. Both the modules, whatever modules, the access module is the same thing with what is on CV access. So so you don't have to worry that, okay, we are doing CV security, we are not doing CV access. They are both the same thing. So here you see the operation guidance. You can also download or watch videos. So there are videos that you can see on how to, operate. This will take you to a YouTube link. You can see where you can see how to for ZKTeco. Can you see? So 54 videos on the CV security. So I'd implore us to go there, sharing us this also in the group. I would implore us to go and check that out also. So that's that about this part. You also have the language, you have the skin. I can change to dark mode also if I want to. And I get my dark mode. Can you see? So you can change however you to your preference, right? If you like dark mode, you can have dark mode selected. If you like light mode, you can have light mode selected. So the next thing is we want to look at the modules, right? So you can see all the modules here. Each of these modules, they are functions of their own. But before we go into the modules, we want to look at this dashboard you are seeing here. What is it all about, right? In the first pane container, you see this UI, good morning, admin, you see the date. In the second pane, it gives you the option to customize shortcut menu. So rather than coming here every time, you can just have a customized shortcut to say, I'm doing access control. In access control, I want to have access to the device management side. So I can have a customized shortcut. So if I click on this management, it takes me to the device management side of the application. So that's one. So you can customize different shortcut levels. What you have here, you have the business dashboard. So in the business dashboard, this gives you what you see here is the home page. Each of the module, the important ones, have their own business dashboard where you see analytics about them. So take, for example, if I select personnel, let me select all the dashboards that comes with the application. So if I select personnel dashboard, I'm going to get an analytics section for personnel where I can see the total users that are present for my system, user photos, analysis of active and departing staffs. I can see the fingerprint templates. I can see the visible comparison photo. I can see if they are using card or not, finger vein, palm vein. So I can see different analytics. If a user is registered or not registered, so I can see the total, I can see all those things. Then if I come to access control, I can also see things that are related to access control. So I can see the exceptions, the event monitoring, event trends, everything related to the access control module, which device is online, how many devices are offline, I can get that statistics. And if I come to attendance, I can also see attendance dashboard for the HR, how many personnel are present, how many are absent, can see all those business details. You can see the workaholic, how many hours does this person spend, you can see those details. Consumption, this is another module. You can see the dashboard, the visitor management. So all these modules, they are solutions on their own. I want us to keep that in mind. So I can see analytics, I can see information on that. Parking, I can also see information on that. Entrance control, I can see informations. Smart video, I can see how many of my cameras are online, how many of my cameras are offline. Processing. So CV security, CV access doesn't have this. CV access combines the three modules analytics on one dashboard. So you just see everything once. But because CV security is an enterprise application, so we give you this segmented approach of analytics where you can actually view each of the modules individually on their own. So we can see, so if I come to the personnel module, you'll see that I'm sure some of us already have an understanding based on about time. It's similar. We have the personnel and card management in the personnel module. In the personnel module, just like we have about time, you can create your department, create your position, right? Create different departments, create positions. You can see personnel that are dismissed. You can see the ones that are pending for review. You can add a custom attributes to the personnel fields if you need other additional information of the personnel, right? So these are the informations that comes by default, the ID, the user photo. Then you now have this here where you can set different level settings for a personnel based on the particular module. So for this personnel access control, I can add them to an access level. Access level is basically level of access you want to give a user to, access particular places. So say you have kitchen, you have accounting, you have engineering office, and you want accounting people to only access accounting office. So you can just have that here in the access level as, accounting office, right? Then we have the time and attendance. Also, we have the elevator control. So you can add different level settings for a particular user. Then you have other personnel details that you can add. And with custom attributes, you can also add details. So for example, if I come to custom attributes and I say I want to have NIN as or I want to have government ID, right? If I want it as a pull down list, I can just put government IDs, NIN. I can add a delimiter. So to say after NIN, passport, add a delimiter, after that BVN, So I can have that. I can display in person list. So if I come to personnel and I click on create new personnel and I come to personnel details, I'm going to see government ID. Then I can, select what government ID, if it is NIN, if it is passport, if it is BVN, that this person has. So you can have different things. It can be a test field, or anything. So it gives you that flexibility to get more user information. So one, and the display in person list, if you want, you can see it here. And when you are importing, you can import that as it goes. Then you have the parameters where you can set different parameters, both for personnel ID, card settings, self-service, And one of the most important thing is the self-service registration. In the self-service registration, it means, take for example, you have employees in your office and you want them to be able to register just themselves. All you just need to do is you want to send them a link where they can register themselves rather than you doing the onboarding one by one. Let all the employees register the details themselves. So you can do like a self-service registration where you can add the IP ports .153.1898. If I click OK, a QR is going to be generated for me. So this QR can now be used by people in here, like new staffs. They can use that to register themselves if that is a process. So these are the important parts. So in the personnel, the card management is for debugging, is for us. There's issues with a Wigan format card. Probably you are using HID. And these are where we set the card settings. So that's about the personnel. You can also explore to see each of these settings, how they work in depth. So if I come to access, so the access is important because for access, just like I explained in the last time, there are things you need to know when it comes to access control. When it comes to access control, you want to know who has permission to a particular place. When is this person expected to visit this particular place? Where is this particular place? And how do they permission themselves? in this particular phase. So if you understand these 4 principles, it will be easier for you to navigate access control. Not just ZKTeco access control software, any access control software, it will be easier for you to navigate any access control software. If you know the 4 principles of access control, which is who is required to access, when is this access required, where is this access, and how is this access going to be permission? Is it by face, is it by fingerprints, is it by card? So you get that guide. So the first thing is who, which means you add your personnel. You can't set access level for someone you've not added. So you need to add the personnel. The next thing is to configure the time zones, right? What are the times that this particular door, what are the active time of this particular door? The default is 24 hours accessible, which means the door can be accessed 24 hours, right? The door is accessible 24 hours to users that are permissioned. If you want to now set your own different time zones, so take for example, you have a school solution where the break time is 11:30 to 12:30, right? So it means students cannot access the cafeteria with their card without break time, without the break time being activated. So by 11:30, it means students can go to the cafeteria door and punch their card. The door opens, they hit, and by 12:30 the bell rings. You give 5-minute break. So I can set that on this particular door, the restaurant door, right, the cafeteria door for the students. On this door, I want the door to be active from 11:30 to 12:40, which means the break time happens 11:30, 12:30 break time ends, but there's 10 minutes break for any student in the cafeteria to leave the facility, right? So if you don't leave the facility, it means you'll be locked in the cafeteria, and you won't be able to, you'll be locked in the cafeteria and you won't be able to use you won't be able to attend your classes, right? So this is where we do that. It's important to have a good understanding of this. Then, following the guide, I need to reload so that it can pop up the guide. After setting the time zone, the next thing is where. You've set when now. So where is this particular door? That is where we have the device. Let's click on the device, right? Say you've added your doors. Okay, we're already there. Come to access. Then the where. Now we come to access level. So in the access level, this is where you now set your access level, cafeteria door, right? So in the cafeteria door, I can now add my access control to this cafeteria door. So if I create a time zone, say, let me create a time zone is 11:30 to 12:40, right? That's the first interval. So there are 3 intervals. I can say probably the students will have the first break time 11 to 12:30. Second break time will be 2 to 3. So you can set time interval. There are 3 time intervals that could be set. So I'm going to copy this. Monday to Friday, 11 to 12:30, this door is only going to be active from 11 to 12:40 for students. So say students cafeteria door sign. Right. So I'm going to save that. So if I come to access level, I can now add. So when I'm creating the door, the access level to that particular door, so I can now change my time period to students cafeteria door. So which means whatever controller that is added to this level, whatever door, which is the relay on the controller. You know, I said relays are door. Added to this level means it will only be active within this social time to this social time, which in our case is 11:30 to 12:40. Then the next one is the access level by, we can now set the access level by personnel. So I can now say how many students are meant to be part of this access level. Dong is a student of mine, so I'm going to add Dong to this access level. So it means Dong by 11:30, he has to go to the cafeteria and eat, and he has to leave the cafeteria before 12:40, so he won't be logged inside the restaurant. So we can set by person, we can set by levels, we can set by department. So if you have a whole department that are meant to just access a particular door at a particular period of time, you can set that. Then we have our interlock functions. You know, like I said, interlock is, the definition is you have 2 doors or 3 doors or 4 doors, and in access control, especially in banks, you want to maintain a very high level of security. Interlock works by saying if a door is opened, and that door is left opened, you cannot open any other door. So take, for example, if you have door 1, door 2, door 3, door 4, and we have open. If this door is opened, you can't have any other door opened. So every other door is going to be closed. So if this door is left opened, right? If door 1 is left open, it means every other door is going to be closed if you don't open it. But when you now close door 1, right, every other door can now be opened. Every other door can now be activated. So every other door you can now open. So it's just basically saying you can't open 2 doors at the same time. So you have to open them one by one. So when you open one, you close it before you can open the other one. So that is how interlock works. The second one is linkage. Linkage is basically linking different functions to your applications. First, you need to add a trigger condition. If something happens, should the camera capture using video linkage? Should an email be sent using mail linkage? What should happen? That is what linkage is talking about. In the physical classes, you are going to be doing this in real time. The next one is the anti-passback. Anti-passback is basically saying, is also an access control function that says when you access a door, when you access door A, right? When you access in to door A, you have to access out. So when you access in and you now give someone else your card to access in again, it means the person will not be able to come in. You have to access out before you can access in. So it's for security purposes, in cases where you want to track people coming in and going out, and you want to ensure that when this person goes in, this person is actually in, and this particular person is not passing their card to someone else to use, right? Especially when you well, one of the use cases for this is in event centers, right? In event centers, you give the event visitors, you give them the cards to to gain access to an event. So when they come to the event, they can access in to the event. So if they try to pass their card to their friend to come into the event, the card will not work. They have to come out and access out before they can access impact. So that's basically how anti-passback work. Then we have the first person open. You want to know the first person that's opened a particular door for a particular door at a particular time. You also have multi-person group. Multi-person group works with multi-person verification. So in the sense that you have a door, and this multi-person verification is normally used in banks, right? So in banks, you have a door, right? You want to access a vault, right? They would say to access this vault requires 2 people. 2 people must be on ground to access this vault. So that's multi-person verification. So the one person punches, then this device requests for the other person to punch. So they have to punch sequentially. If it is not sequential, it's not going to work. So that is how multi-person verification work. Then we have the door open duration. You can also set verification mode, and we have these parameters for real-time monitoring and alarm, mailbox alarm system that we can do. Then we have some other advanced function where we have the head counts. If you want to read head counts, we have global anti-passback for multiple devices. We have the linkage, we have the interlock for global. If you have multiple controllers, so you use this global. Then you also have the cloud control to control capacity in a particular room. Say you want at any point in time, you only want 3 people in this particular room. It means only 3 people can access this particular door at any point in time. Once 3 people checks in, the device will not accept the 4th person. So that's crowd control. Then we have our access control reports, where we can get all transactions, events, exemptions, alarm, first in, last out, and other things. So in these transactions, you can export. You can export as Excel, PDF. You can export as CSV. You can export as TST. So you can also export photos, right? User photos. You can export that to add that as an event. So these are the things you can get. So in by tomorrow, we are going to be touching some other parts. But now I'll take few questions before we call it a day to the section. Yeah, so let's take questions. Ismail.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah. My question is just what you just mentioned.
Yeah.
The crowd control of a thing.
Yeah.
Does it mean it is configured based on certain individual that you want maybe like 4 people to enter, or any 4 people among?
Any 4 people amongst those people that have a particular access level.
Okay.
Yes.
Any of them. Okay.
People. Yes, you have the maximum and you have the minimum. So
another thing I want to ask, sir.
Yeah.
Is this a multi-person verification?
Yeah.
On the multi-person verification that you do on the device, on the door, does it mean it is configured on the device end or on the software?
It is configured on the software.
Okay.
So it is configured on the software. So first thing is you create the group. The group means you want to create a group, let's say IT, right? Let's say you want people to access the door. So this group means the user. You had the users you want to have. If I have more than 2 users here, I can add them here to this group. So if I come to multi-person verification, you can now select a door. So you select a door from here and you name your combination, then you add your group IT, right? So the number of opening for the personnel in this group. So if there are 2, you just put 2, which means because I have 1 person here, so in the group, so you are going to get the 0. So you can choose 1. So if you have 2 people, so you can select 2. So when you do this on the device, it means 2 people have to verify on the device before the door opens. So it's normally used in banks. Yeah.
Okay. I think I understand you. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Yeah, Lawrence.
Okay, thank you. My question is based on all the softwares we've discussed from BioTimes and the CV security. Let's say in a situation where I have the software installed in my laptop and also have it installed in a desktop in the office. Will one login work for these 2 softwares at the same time?
When you have it,
when I have the softwares, either the BioTime or the CV security installed in 2 different systems, but for the same network.
So the thing is, why do you want to install on 2 different? You know, like I said, it's a web-based software, right?
Yeah.
If you install on 1 software, it means you can access it on any software. This CV security that I'm showing you is on another system. It's not on my system. The one on my system, I just put local hosts. My license has expired. This is the one on my system.
Okay.
You can see my license has expired. If I try to access, I won't be able to access. This is the one that is local to me on my system, right? You see, I can't access, right? But this one I'm accessing is on another system. And I just need to use the user credentials. So we'll be talking about user permissioning tomorrow. So you have a good, clear understanding on that. User permissioning on CV security. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Yes.
All right. Thank you.
So to answer your questions, you don't need to install CV security on 2 different systems. You only need to install on 1 system, and it could be accessed as a client on other systems, 4 system, 5 system, depending on how the client wants it. Yeah, Friday.
Okay, thank you, sir. My question, the CV access and the CV security, but more especially the CV security, this is a solution on its own. Can I integrate? Let's say I have somebody is using the Huawei camera and possibly another OEM access control. Can the CV security integrate third-party solution?
Yes, CV security can integrate the third-party solution. It's part of what we are going to be discussing tomorrow. For if you are using the Huawei camera, the Huawei supports own VIP, so it's easier. If you come to smart surveillance module, you can add any camera, right? As long as that camera supports so if I come to IPC, right, you can add any type of camera if you have these details, right? So yeah.
Okay. That means I'm just looking at in a situation where you have someone, maybe a customer, a client, just somehow that already have some OEM and some solution in place that you can actually pitch the CV security for them so that they can just be able to manage all those devices in one place.
Yes.
Okay.
So for access control devices, they might need to change the controllers. But for smart surveillance, if they have DAWA camera, you can get ZKMVR used with DAWA camera, then add the MVR here. So if you have API, you can integrate API, the CV security support API, even if the clients have their own inbuilt system and they want to get data, which is what a lot of organizations doing enterprises, that is what they do. If they are using this application, they normally use it with their in-house application, right, for data analytics and stuff like that on access control, data analytics on surveillance. Some even have their own application where the ZKTeco surveillance module is what is acting underneath. But when you see the application, you'll be thinking it's their application that is pulling the feed system, but it's just basically the ZK running underneath. Yeah, Evarestos.
Okay, sir. So thank you. My question is on this anti-pass by. Maybe hopefully tomorrow you can emphasize more on it.
Yes. So take for example, you have an event, right? In the event, you have an event to attend. In that event, before you attend the event, a QR code was sent to you that they use this QR code to access, or a card was sent to you. Use this card to access. When you get to the event, so let's say you now want to go to with your friend, but your friend doesn't have the event pass, right? It will be easier for you to come to the event and say, since they are checking the pass, right? If I come inside, I'll just pass it to you at the back, so you two can use it to come in, right? So let's say me, I don't have the pass, but you have the pass, right? Then on the day of the event, we go to the event together, and you use the pass to access. Me, I'm now waiting in the corner at the backyard for you to pass me the pass so that I can use it to gain access also. Anti-pass back stops situations like that. So because anti-pass back requires you to use the card to gain access in and use that card to gain access out. If you use the card to gain access in and pass the card to someone outside to come and use to gain access in, the system will see it as a conflict, because the system knows that this card has accessed in, but this card has not accessed out. So you can't. So if you pass the card to me at the backyard to come and enter the event, I won't be able to enter with that card because there's anti-pass back function. So pass back is what that thing is called. What's that scenario that you go to the event, you access in, you now go to the backyard and pass the card to someone else to use it to come in. That's what is called pass back. So pass back is what is guarding against scenarios like that. I hope that's clear. Is that clear?
I understood the function, but a global one, because sometimes I'm working on a project. I paused the project because of this anti-pass back.
Yes. So anything global on our system means you have different. So let's say because each of these functions can only work on one controller. So global means you have multiple controllers that So let's say global anti-pass back now means if I have 2 doors on, if I have about 260 Pro 1, and I have another about 260 Pro, You know, the first ML 260 Pro handles 2 doors. Normal anti-passback would only work on that about the 2 doors on that about 260 Pro, which means if you access it, you can't access in on the other door on the about 260 Pro. But when it comes to global, it means you now have multiple in bio. Say you have 4 doors, and those 4 doors, the 2 of those doors are on the first in bio, 2 of those doors is on the second in bio. So with global anti-passback, you can now achieve that sync between those doors, the 4 doors on different controller. So that is where global anti-passback works. So it's why they call it global. So meaning if you have multiple controllers, you can say you want to say do anti-passback on this door and the door downstairs, or this door and the door upstairs. You can do interlock on this door and the door anywhere. You understand? But normal anti-passback, normal interlock, they happen just on the controller. So you can't intersync them within multiple controllers unless you use a global anti-passback, or unless you use the global functions.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I hope that's clear.
Yes, it's clear, but I don't want to go more deeper with my questions. Maybe some other times.
No, you can ask. You can ask if I want to see if you are clear on the explanation itself.
My question might be somehow more practical than, because I have a double turnstile installation, double turnstile this thing. I have it in 3 places.
Okay.
So I noticed the turnstile. You cannot, if you open a turnstile, it opens. If you want to enter, the front opens, you enter. If you want to come out again, it's like a turnstile has a 4 doors. The turnstile, you know, is a double turnstile.
Yeah.
But once it's like it has a 4 doors. I don't know. It is.
Okay, so let me just to help you out, because I asked. So a turnstile, I think one of the things we'll do is to, before the end of this online, before we end this online training, I'm going to take a training on entrance control. Turnstile has 2 different, double turnstile has 2 different motors that are segmented. Those 2 motors, they operate 2 different boards, right? So if you are using a controller, so for one single way turnstile, we use 2 doors, which is you want to achieve in, you want to achieve out, which is 2 relays. I'm saying doors so that you can have, like, you can understand what I mean when I say like controller, because you have to use controller with the turnstile. You have to use our controller. So those turnstile, they are acting as the door. You have to see them as a normal regular door. So, but you have to recognize the motor functions. So on a turnstile, you have the solenoid that controls the. You have the motor. The motor controls the solenoid. Solenoids control the blocker, the moving arms, and the blockers. Right. So they are in 2 parts. So for single turnstile, you can enter, you can exit from that same end. For double turnstiles, you can enter, exit. So there are two relays on each. For double turnstiles, you are going to have 4 relays on that, right? So each of those relays, 2 relays, we handle 2 doors. The other 2, we handle the other 2 doors. So for anti-passback, you can use, if you are going to be using an RF reader, like a fingerprint reader on the turnstile, you can use about 460. About 460, the 4 relays, you use 2 relays, either one and lock 1 and lock 2. You use it for the first turnstile, lock 3 and 4 for the second turnstile, and you use your FR reader to achieve in out, right? Then you can now use the normal anti-passback. But if you are using a Wigand reader, it means you now have to use about 260 for the first two parts, use another 260 for the second two parts. Then you can now use the global anti-passback function, because now you are using two different controllers on that one turnstile, because it's a double turnstile. I don't know if that's clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, it's clear, sir.
Yeah. So you can use that to achieve your in and out. So, and one more thing is, so okay, that's for interlock. One more thing is that for interlock, you need a sensor. You need a door sensor. You need a door sensor for interlock. For interlock, you can't achieve interlock on an entrance control devices. You can achieve interlock on access control doors, but on entrance control devices, you can't achieve interlock on entrance control devices. All right, so tomorrow we'll be looking at the modules, and we'll be looking at permissioning system also on the software, on security software. So by next week, we'll be looking at, we'll be touching some other software parts, and we're going to talk about the entrance control also. I'm also going to be introducing us to DJ Max in one of the classes, which is our digital screens. It's just for us to have the idea has been mandated by the management for us to have that. So there we can end. So the selection process for the physical section will happen in the on the 20th. Resumption for physical classes would start on the 27th of July. So I want us to pay attention. The online classes will end on the 15th and 16th. Selection will happen on the 20th, and physical classes for the selected people would start on the 27th. So I want us to have that in mind. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow in the next class. Bye.